Hello, Virgos, and welcome to your May 15th through May 31st reading. We're going to take a look at a bunch of different areas. We're going to make some predictions. So if you are returning, you'll notice that my background is different yet again. As I mentioned in some of my recent videos, my son and I are now moving around. We've gone fully nomadic. So this month, I'm coming to you from Medicine Hat, Alberta, and this is my cousin's man cave, which he has generously allowed me to use in order to be able to record this month's videos. You'll notice I'm bundled up a little bit. It is quite chilly here and raining. So yeah. Okay. To those of you who are new here, a very warm welcome. The way that I work is I'm going to pull cards in 6 different areas, and I do leave the cards sitting face down until I'm actually ready to read them. This allows for more of the psychic energy to come through rather than me being unduly influenced by already seeing the cards that are coming up. I work with a number of different tarot decks as well as oracle card decks, so let's get started, Virgos. The first cards that we're going to pull, Virgo, are going to be the cards of where you're at now here as I'm doing this reading for you in the middle of May 2023. And the intention behind this video is to cover the time period between May 15th and May 31st. If you are curious about the timing in readings and why sometimes the readings don't align, please check out my video for April 1st through April the 15th for your sign. And that may help you to better understand. In the April 1st through April 15th videos for all of the signs, I went into significant detail about why timing sometimes doesn't line up. I also want to let everyone know that this reading is intended to go out to anybody born under the sign of Virgo, as well as anybody who has a significant amount of Virgo in their charts. Okay. The next card that we're going to pull for you is going to be card of your focus. What are you focusing on here? Mid to late May. Okay. Okay. The next card that I'm going to pull for you is going to be the cards of difficult influences. Okay, difficult influences for the Virgos, May 15th through the 31st. Got one card that turns sideways in the deck. Got others just wanting to jump out and then going back in. So I think I'm probably going to go through this deck a second time. I do like to work with cards that jump. I'm going to pull that one because it turned the other way. All right. Is there anything else for the Virgos in difficult influences? Difficult influences for the Virgos, late May. That one jumped and then went right back in the deck. All right. Okay, Virgo, the next card that I'm going to pull for you is a card that just makes sense. Some of you are going, what does that mean? So the card that just makes sense is a card that has kind of two meanings. One is it begins to pull all the rest of the reading together. And two, a lot of the times the card that just makes sense has a similar or identical meaning to some of the other cards that have come out in your reading, thus giving you that double reinforcement of the energies behind that card. So where are we going to go? Let's see. Card that just makes sense. We're going over here. Okay. What makes sense for the Virgos? Late May 2023. This makes sense. Oh my goodness. We've got just a mass of cards here, all spreading themselves out, but we've only got one card that's come out. Okay, so the next card that we're going to pull for you is a card of unexpected influences and insights. Where are we going for that one? Right. Unexpected influences and insights. Oh my goodness. Not even halfway through the deck and the cards are not wanting to go in. Although sometimes this means that another card will actually fall out if it works its way far enough out. Okay, unexpected. There's another card. That was unexpected. That was unexpected. Perfect. All right, so let's put these cards in the order in which they came out. Okay. And the final cards that we're going to pull for you, Virgo, are going to be cards of your general overall outcome. Now, the general overall outcome cards are cards that are reading, predicting, and projecting the energies the farthest out, because it's predicting or projecting what energies are going to be out there and influencing you, what's going to be happening come the end of the month. So we're going to go back over here to the trusty Osho Zen. Outcome for the Virgos, late May 2023. Outcome. Yeah, and the cards are getting messy again. Hard to hold on to. Oh, okay. We'll go back through one more time. Wow. That's rare. Right. Just that many cards all kind of bunching together. General overall outcome. Okay. How many cards do we have out there? 4 or 5 cards? Anything else? Yeah, one more there. Okay. Now, the interesting thing, we have one card that's come out at the very last minute, and all of these other cards came out kind of all together, but we had 3 cards that flew this way and 1 card that flew this way. So I'm not sure if it was you last month or which zodiac sign it was, but one of the zodiac signs had a similar thing happen where they had 2 outcomes based on what they were doing with the rest of their reading. And I think based on the way that these cards have come out for you, Virgo, I'm going to read it the same way, because it does appear as though they're, just the way that the cards have come out, it appears as though there's the potential for 2 different outcomes, as well as kind of a wild card that came out here at the last minute. So we'll get to those cards near the end. All right, Gates of Triumph, success expands in your life. This is where you are at right now, Virgo. This is a card of realizing how powerful you really are when you decide to walk through the gates of life, when you decide to truly embrace your life's purpose, when you decide to let go and release that which no longer serves you and walk through the gates into your purpose. Now, some of you might be saying, oh, that's kind of airy fairy, and what's she talking about? Well, at this time, Virgo, a lot of us are going through a huge change and shift. And for some people, it's quite subtle, but for others, it's more of a kind of a shocking or a definitive shift out of one frequency and into another, and out of one job and into another, out of one relationship and into another. And when we're doing this, it's very, very different. Like, it's not like we're jumping. So say, for example, someone is a doctor. It's not that we're jumping from one hospital to another. We're jumping from practicing medicine to practicing law. Right? It's absolutely amazing what's happening on the planet right now as people really, really let go of the past, let go of traditions that no longer serve us, and let go of societal beliefs that no longer serve us. And we're able to walk through these gates of triumph into new successes that we never could have imagined when we were still bound up in the chains of what society deemed was okay for us. So what are you concentrating on right now? Okay, so one of the things that you're concentrating on right now is rebirth. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Now, you're not the first zodiac sign to have this card. This is the equivalent to the 10 of Swords in the traditional tarot. And this is about really changing and reimagining who we are. So down at the bottom, you have kind of this gray camel. Not so interesting, moving up into this fierce lion and moving up into being human with very much a lot of potential here. So the other thing that you have is a card that in some ways almost equates to the Hermit. Now, the Hermit card is part of the major arcana, and when the major arcana come out, they kind of yell at us. They have a stronger message, but cards with similar meaning that are in the minor arcana are kind of saying to us, hey, pay attention. They're not really yelling. And the card that you have is the 9 of Swords, also known as the 9 of Clouds. Now, this card is represented as sorrow, but it is also represented by a lone figure who has somewhat withdrawn himself from society in order to be able to concentrate on whatever matters to him in that time or in that moment. And it's interesting as well that you've got both the 9 and the 10, which means that what's happening in your life right now, Virgo, is very much sequential, right? You're moving from sort of this planning stage, this pulling back from society into pulling into this rebirth, right? And we do have to go through this period of trying to figure out what is important to us. And as I mentioned already, sorry, someone's just walking by here. What I mentioned already here in your reading is that there's a lot of this sort of withdrawal or pullback from societal beliefs, from societal traditions. And this is coming up as a theme in general for many, many people right now. And so there's this kind of withdrawal that you're experiencing and moving into this rebirth. And in so doing, you are moving into adventure. So this is what you're focusing on right now. So you're focusing on, first of all, first steps, the 9 of Swords, withdrawing somewhat, perhaps feeling a little bit of sorrow about the past. That would not be unexpected. Not unexpected at all, right? Some of us want to mourn the past. But once we finish mourning the past, we definitely have the ability and the capacity to then let go of the mistakes of the past, move forward and rebirth ourselves into something that we truly want to be, instead of something that society expected us to be. And in so doing that, we are also focusing on adventure and making our life more adventurous. Let's move into your difficult influences right now. Difficult influences. Okay. Stand your ground. You have the mountains here in difficult influences. Are you being a little bit waffly, going back and forth, going, oh, I'm mourning the past. If only things could stay the same. Instead of actually embracing the energy of the future, which is about your adventures here. And it's about your gates of triumph and the success that you can have. See, the thing is that the way society has been working, Virgo, hasn't been working for a lot of people. It works for the few up at the top, but it doesn't work for everyone. So stand your ground. This is something that you may struggle against at this time. May 15th through May 31st is the intended time frame for this particular reading. And you may be tempted to waffle a little bit rather than standing your ground. The other thing that this card lets us know is that there's a lot more going on below the surface than what you can see above the surface. Now, this happens with both mountains, and it happens with icebergs, and it happens with people, right? And what's coming to mind for me, Virgo, is that we've all seen the memes telling us to be nice to someone because we don't know what they're experiencing in their personal life right now. You know, we see somebody in a store having a meltdown, and some of us are tempted to chastise that person or, you know, make fun of that person for being, I don't know, a Karen. And I apologize to any of the Karens that may be watching this who happen to be Virgos, but we don't know what happened to that person earlier in the day. Perhaps somebody rear-ended their car and caused damage to their brand new car. Perhaps they had a fight with their spouse that morning. Perhaps, you know, they had a fight with their child that day. Who knows what's actually happening to that person, what's going on below the surface. And so this is also something that is coming up for me with this card for you, Virgo, is for you to be cognizant that you may not be seeing the whole big picture all of the time, and therefore being compassionate to others is going to be really important May 15th through May 31st. Having said that, the next card that you have in your difficult influences is the broken arrow. This is the card of embracing the energy of peace. Kind of important if you are incapable of practicing compassion because you don't know what someone else is experiencing here. You know, at least embrace peace. And the last card that you have in your difficult influences is be graceful in movement and action. You have the Shaolin Master here. And what this card is telling me is that there may be a temptation on your part right now, Virgo, to be a little bit perhaps lazy, and perhaps, you know, not being graceful in your movement. Make sure that you are looking after your body at this time. Okay. This makes sense. The Eight of Cups. Eight of Cups is all about walking away from that which no longer serves your highest good. Now, I'm not sure if this is coming into full view for you, especially because these cards are reflective, but I'm going to try and see this here. On this card, you will notice the character or the figure on the card has all of these golden cups lined up on shore, and yet he is getting on a boat or a raft, and he's turned his back and he's walking away. This is a card of walk away from that which no longer serves you. Makes sense, right? Let's have a look at unexpected. Oh, you have 2 8s here. You have the 8 of spring as well as the 8 of winter. The 8 of spring corresponds to the 8 of wands, and the 8 of winter corresponds to the 8 of swords. And you also have the 2 of autumn corresponding to the 2 of pentacles. The 8 of spring is all about multitasking. You'll notice here that the fairy on this card is attempting to juggle a number of different light orbs. And it's a little bit overwhelming because she's already dropped one here. So unexpected this month is, sorry, for the last half of May here, Virgo. Unexpected is that you're going to have more coming into your life than what you thought you were going to have to deal with. And it's going to require you to multitask a fair bit. Now, that is right next to the 8 of winter, 8 of swords. And this is a card of believing in yourself. This is a card of realizing that you have everything within you that you need in order to be able to be successful and to succeed in whatever it is that you're doing. Unexpected? No, not really. But 8 is a lucky number. You've got 2 8s here. And you also have the 2 of autumn, also known as the 2 of Pentacles. The 2 of Pentacles, again, is about juggling multiple priorities. Again, the symbol or the fairy on the card is similar to this card here, where this one has a few too many light orbs up in the sky and she drops one. And if you look at this one as well is juggling multiple priorities. So unexpected, maybe, maybe not, Virgo, but it does look like by mid to late May, you're probably going to be juggling a bunch of different priorities. And it may require you to be able to step back from things. It may require you to walk away from that which no longer serves you and walk away from certain things. And as well, sometimes when we have a lot of things up in the air like this, when we're trying to juggle too many things, we can become extremely impatient with others. And if we do that, are we being in the energy of peace? No, we're not. And I had mentioned as well with this card with, sometimes we don't know what's going on below the surface. Sometimes we don't know what happened to somebody earlier in the day when they're having a meltdown about something else or sitting in a corner and crying. And we can't figure out why they're crying. And we're sitting there being judgmental and saying, oh my God, they're just oversensitive. No, maybe something really bad happened to them earlier in the day. And so these cards were indicating that you need to express compassion here May 15th through the 31st. But this is also indicating that you yourself may find yourself juggling a whole bunch of extra things, trying to multitask, and you yourself may be the one that's feeling overwhelmed, could be short-tempered with someone, in which case practicing compassion is going to be really important. Let's have a look at your final overall outcome, Virgo. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning when I was pulling the cards, we have 2 separate piles to go through as well as kind of a wild card. So I'm going to flip these cards over and see what they say. See if this one's meant to be read with this one or separately. Let's have a look. Yeah, I think actually this card goes with this. And then we've got this wild card here. Oh my goodness. Virgo, what did I say you needed to practice with people this month? This wild card, this is the final card that came out in your reading. This is the card of patience. Remember, I said you need to practice patience and compassion with others as well as with yourself, especially if you're going to be juggling and multitasking. You have to practice patience with yourself and with others. Remember as well that with this particular card, we're talking about phases. So even if you find yourself extremely busy, juggling multiple priorities, juggling multiple tasks, if you find yourself being impatient, be patient and compassionate with yourself. But remember that this is just a phase. Eventually, all of this busyness is going to settle down and things are going to be calm and smooth running. So let's have a look at the other cards that came out for your general overall outcome. You have the 4 of Swords that has come out here. Now, this is a card of postponement. This is a card about putting things off. Does that make sense? Well, if we've got tons and tons of things that we're trying to juggle, does it make sense that we may have to postpone some things? Absolutely. The next card that you have is going with the flow. This is the Ace of Cups, or the equivalent to the Ace of Cups in the traditional tarot. And what this card is about is not only going with the flow, but also new beginnings, new relationships, changes and shifts in our relationships, so that there's more of a flow in them rather than a juggling in our relationships. This is a card of listen to your inner voice. Virgo, I know that sometimes it's hard to listen to our inner voice, but your general overall outcome is asking you to listen to your inner voice beyond a shadow of a doubt, going within, tapping in. Let me see. I think there was something in here about your intuition. Yeah, there's something about definitely believing in yourself, but you need to go within, listen to that still small inner voice. Sometimes we don't always listen to that small voice. This card is saying that by the end of May, it's going to be of the utmost importance for you to be listening to your still small voice, Virgo. Again, I'm going to go back to this. If you're juggling multiple things and you're not really believing in yourself, I mean, this card is about believing in yourself, but if you're doubting yourself, the best way to reinforce that belief in yourself, the best way for you to really, really get in touch with who you are in order to be able to walk through the gates of triumph, in order for you to be able to go forward in this adventure, the best thing you can do is get in touch with your inner voice. Meditation, going for walks, stretching, just get in touch with it. If you want to know the answers to things, find out which method works best for you. Dreaming, keeping a dream journal, meditation. What else? Just going for a long drive, listening to some music. All of these things are ways to get out of our busy, busy minds and our busy, busy lives. The final card that you have here is the card of totality, Virgo. By the end of May, you're being asked to make sure that you have a clear picture of what it is that you would like to achieve, and you're being asked to go all in. The characters on this card are trapeze artists. And when one trapeze artist is attempting to leave one side and join with another trapeze artist, they don't have a choice but to let go and go all in and trust that what will be, that if they're meant to be caught, they'll be caught. And if not, they're going to land in the net below and hope that the net is set up correctly. So Virgo, overall, a very good reading. Unexpectedly, you're going to find yourself very, very busy mid to late May. You're going to find yourself having to juggle multiple priorities. There is nothing wrong with that, so long as you're practicing patience both with yourself and with others during that time. You are concentrating on and focusing upon rebirth and adventure. You can have this by listening to this, your inner voice. All right, Virgo, thank you so much. I hope that you'll join me again at the beginning of June for your next reading.